So we've been looking at the solution to a lot of these problems from kind of a three-pronged approach. And the first piece is really just looking at automation itself and the benefits that come from it. So the first part is looking at scalability and the ability to scale through automation. Now, traditionally, when we had the discussions around scalability, it was always around the ability, or it was always around how do you have the ability to quickly and efficiently scale up. However, what we've seen is right now the ability to both scale up and quickly scale down is equally as important. While scaling up with staff doing work is difficult, scaling down with people is a very unique challenge on its own, both from an HR perspective and just a people perspective. If you have significant influxes of volume that are only temporary, being able to get that done and then find something for people to do it can be very difficult because no one wants to unfurlough someone and put them back on right away. The other component is kind of the always availability of a technical solution. So being able to, similar to the scale, being able to turn a solution on and off when the process is needed, as opposed to moving people around, bringing people back, letting people go, all of that is significantly easier. And then the third component is the reduced workforce that's needed when you have a significant number of technological solutions also frees up a lot of management bandwidth for more important tasks. So instead of dealing with HR issues and all the issues inherent with having a large number of staff, you can really focus on things like inventory management, process improvement, client relationships, the types of things that you really want your best and brightest people working on. So I know we've talked a lot about how this kind of specifically relates back to your office. David, do you want to take over for a minute?
Absolutely. For our office, as we've been looking into automate, what I've found, and like I said before, I really wasn't coming from a technical background, and I certainly had my skepticism of automation. I believed in it, but I didn't really know what it could and couldn't do. And what I've come to find is sort of like the three rules of real estate, where it's location, location, location. I just think in the work that we're in, we now have three rules, and it's automation, automation, automation. Really seeing what it can do, and I think what you point out with scalability and always available is so important. What I've noticed with e-filing, when you go to automation, if you have one thing to e-file or if you have 300 items to e-file, the fact that it's almost the same is quite the difference. And if you were at 300 and now you're down to just a few to file, it's the same thing in the reverse direction. And what I've run into a lot, or I've seen a lot, is responses like, we can't do it internally, or if it's not broken, don't fix it. In other words, we have a good system, it's working, let's stick with it. And what I found is that that's just been the incorrect approach. It's just going forward with the automation because it makes such a difference. And I think, especially in COVID-19 world, where I think everything has been almost broken. I know that's an exaggeration, but certainly over the last several months, I think that's kind of what has happened. Just to see the benefits of it and going through that process, it's been very helpful. And I know, there's other views of it that make it difficult, like the pricing of it, or how do we go about it, and where do we start, and whether it's internal or where you go to an external vendor. And I know smaller firms might not have the budget for it or any budget and are completely dependent on being with a vendor to help them with their IT. This is really something that's very important, I think, to look into, because I've certainly seen the benefits of it. I know most firms really don't view their IT department as part of their production, or even as something that would be research and development, for example, in a technical area. It's mostly viewed as support. But I think that's something that really needs to change, and I've seen that for our firm. And really the pricing is out there for it that makes it affordable, and certainly the enhancement that can be had with productivity and profitability is really there, and it really should be looked into. And there's a lot of companies out there, and if that's the route that's decided to take, that firms can look to, and really, I think you find it well worth it. I mean, like I said, just with the e-filing, to see that difference. And also, I've worked with one of our states for a while when they were going to an e-filing program, and truly, I think they designed it in a way to make it manual. I think they were just copying what they had before, but they made it very difficult to e-file through automation. And that was my belief at that time, that there was no way we were going to be able to automate e-filing in that state just because of the way it was set up. And I couldn't have been more wrong, because now we do e-filing there automatically. So all of the challenges that were there were overcome. I have been repeatedly amazed by the ability of IT people and computer people, to overcome those hurdles. And, and that's why, I certainly believe that automation is certainly the way to go.
It's